The Drive starts now.
Does that go up anymore there, Jay?
Try it now.
There we go.
Hey.
Hey now.
That's what she said.
That's what she said. What about you, Viking Horn? All right, welcome into The Drive. It's The Drive. It's The Drive. Monday edition. Phone numbers are as follows. 1-800-920-1140. That is your what is it? Fire Wings hotline. I'm getting distracted. I got to turn these. Every Monday I come in and it's death television. I got to flip that to
You mean the Super Bowl? That's death television.
My God. I mean, the thing is our friend Sepp and Ultimate Bass, Kent, and all the guys that do the hunting and fishing shows over the weekend, they put it on the outdoors channels. And then Monday I come in, and TVs are the last thing I look at when we're setting up. And sometimes I forget, and I look up, and there's like a deer getting stabbed in the eye, or a muskrat being, And I always say, hey, hunters, I love you, and you're environmentalists, and I'm not here to ever say hunting is bad or hunters are bad. I mean, obviously, and I don't want this to be the segment here. If you're hunting an elephant or a giraffe or like a lion, I'm not a fan of that. In fact, It's gross to me. But if you're out there, taking your kid out to hunt a deer, and I know it helps the population, and
conservation is the word they like to use.
Jay, that is 100% correct. And that was the voice of Jay Marshall, and welcome in, Jay.
Hey, thanks for having me.
This is the first time you and I have been on the air together. Mm-hmm. Is it the first?
This was the first time.
Okay, I thought so. My memory is slowly. I'm one of those guys where my wife hates this. I will introduce her a lot at parties to people she's met and hung out with before. But I always play by the rules, since I'm terrible at names and I'm terrible at remembering things, that it's always best to err on the side of caution and be corrected rather than assume people have met. Now, but I've been aware of you for many, many years, and you and I have talked off the air, and you've been working here for a while. But I first remember you back in the Fight for the Kings days. Mm-hmm. You were, again, memory here, but you were, I believe, at a different radio station.
Yes.
And, obviously KHTK, and I think at the time I was podcasting. I know at the time I was podcasting, but still kind of a fringe KHTK guy. But you were very involved on social media and with everything involved with Saving the King. So you've always kind of had a special. Anybody that does that has a special place in my heart. And then, I mean, you're and a very talented show host too.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I imagine it. Well, I've heard you on. You were on, weren't you? You were on with Matt.
I was on with Matt last week or 2 weeks ago
in the afternoons, filling in for Grant.
Right.
Yeah, it's just you've got a lot of talent ahead of you. Just to, you know how it works here. It's a matter of time before it's Jay in the morning or in the afternoon. You take over for Grant. It's just a matter that we're all just holding down the fort for you.
And I appreciate that.
We try to keep the seat warm.
I've never had my head blowing up so early in the morning. This is fantastic.
All downhill.
Okay.
All downhill from here. You are not Kyle, and people are going to say, "Well, where is Kyle?" Kyle went to. As I disrobe here for the viewers at KHTK.
Oh, I got to show you my shirt I'm wearing today.
Oh, you got a?
I got a good one on.
Okay. Well, as you know, we were on the television thanks to Jiffy Lube and the Sacramento Republic Football Club. You can go to KHTK.com and view that. It's fine to listen to, even better to view. Mm-hmm. That's what the kids say here around the high schools. Let's see. So Kyle is in Reno. Kyle got snowed in, which I think is accurate. I looked at the weather. It's like everyone, if you listen to the show, you heard us on Friday, Kyle goes with his family to the Pepper Mill every year for the Super Bowl. That's what
Pepper Mill, okay.
The Pepper Mill in Reno. They get rooms and the boozes and do their thing. And he's always, I think he's always made it back down, although for some reason now my spider sense is tingling, like maybe he didn't a couple years ago. But he called me yesterday, or he texted me and said, I may not. It's not looking good. We might get snowed in. And yeah, I'm looking at the weather right now. I'm looking at least in Tahoe. I know he's in Reno, but the snow's coming down, and I think there's chains and stuff everywhere. So,
well, they shut those roads down real quick too, because you'll get the people that are going to try to get out, and then they end up spinning out, which completely shuts down the road.
Can't do that.
By the way, though, this has been in place since Friday. He's known.
I think so.
I know so, because I got a text from Jason like, "Hey, are you available Monday if by chance?"
When did you get this text?
Friday.
What? No, you got this out. He knew what?
Pulling back the curtain.
Oh, that is the wrong soundboard. Hold on. Wait, you knew what? There it is.
Nice work.
Oh, Kyle. You know, Wally Pipp, Lou Gehrig, they say that, you let somebody, when I go on vacation, which apparently is every other week now, I always worry, Damien and Jason in the mornings, they can step up to the big chair. Is it going to be, am I going to come back? And they're saying, Dave, we have something to tell you. They did really well in the mornings. We're going to need you to go back to night times. I mean, Kyle just got a big promotion.
What?
Yeah. Well, not a big promotion, but, Kyle just got some good recognition from the big bosses. And
it's getting to his head.
I think so. I mean, literally it happened last week and then the first Monday after, and he's sleeping one off today, which I wish I was sleeping one off. God.
Although, to be fair,
yeah,
who wants to be snowed in Reno?
It's a great point. And
Reno?
Our old friend Joe Pittman has been, little Joe has been living there for the last few years, and just it is draining the life out of his spirit. Reno, listen, if you are up in Reno, I know we stretch up to Reno. If you're up there listening, I'm not even going to apologize because you're nodding your head. Like,
yeah.
Reno is
horrible.
It's just,
it's a land filled with slot machines.
Right. Now, listen, if we happen to have any sponsors from Reno that are casinos or hotels, we're not talking about you.
Oh, you're awesome.
You're fantastic. I mean, I went and saw Aaron Lewis a few months ago up there. That was great. I've had many a fun time in Reno. It's a great point. Now, are you, did you grow up here?
Oh, I'm born and raised Sacramento.
Okay. So do you remember, whenever Kyle mentions going to the pepper mill, do you remember the pepper mill in Citrus Heights?
No, I only remember the Fairfield one that burned down.
Oh, I don't even remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there used to be a pepper mill right by the old McGee's, which once upon a time was the best place in town.
That's a name from the past.
Football. Oh, McGee's. I got in a lot of trouble at McGee's back. Kyle, we will talk tomorrow too. Kyle sent me, he was up in Nevada, so of course this was 100% legal. Kyle sent me a wager that he laid Saturday, and this is my theory as to why he's out. It was a 5-team wager. It was the Clippers plus 1.5. I won't bore you with what all this means. The Hornets minus 6.5, Mavericks minus 6.5, Warriors minus 11.5. I'll leave it there because there was a fifth one. He bet $5. It would have paid him $130. And he sent it to me early in the afternoon. And I watched it, and the Clippers hit 1-0. Hornets hit 2-0. Mavs hit 3-0. Warriors, it looked questionable there against the Lakers until DeMarcus Cousins ended Kyle Kuzma.
R.I.P.
4-0. But the final bet Kyle had to cash $130 off of a $5 bet was the 76ers minus 3.5, meaning the Sixers had to win by 4 or more. And that is why I don't do parlays. I think he's depressed from that.
Painful.
So what will we do today? It's no guest Monday because we have way too much stuff to talk about. Morning Brew is next. We will talk about the Super Bowl. I'm sorry, that's what's going to happen. As much as I almost don't want to protest how terrible that game was, there are a lot of things going on with that game peripherally, and we're going to have a discussion today as to whether or not Julian Edelman is a Hall of Famer. I can't believe we're even going to talk about this, but we will.
You know what's crazy about that is who tweeted it out.
Adam Schefter tweeted it out. And then a number of and I actually quoted the tweet and said, "Are you high, Adam?" And then I had a number of people that were like, "No, he's actually, Dave, he's right." So is this going to be, oh, God, this is going to be a thing. I got to do the research now, and I got to actually present a case. So we'll talk about that.
Oh, you're going to argue for him?
Against it. No.
I was about to say.
No, he's not. It's so, you're.
I was going to say, are you high now?
Yes, I would. You would need to drug test me if I was actually arguing for him being a Hall of Famer. So we'll get to that. We'll get to the dumb Super Bowl. We'll get to the dumb commercials. The biggest story of the weekend was the Kings beating the Sixers.
Wow.
And all that meant. And then we think we know where the Oakland Raiders are going to play next year. And if you're confused, you're going to be more confused because that's kind of how it is. We'll explain. Morning Brew is next. Jay Marshall in for Kyle Madsen. Sit back and relax. Enjoy the next 3 hours on Sports 1140 KHTK.
Patriots have won their 6th Super Bowl title. In the early 2000s, they won 3 of 4. Now they have won 3 of the last 5. Yes, it's still a dynasty.
It's the best 10 minutes in sports. I don't care what sport, basketball, baseball, hockey. When the streamers come down and they start to play Tina Turner, there's nothing better in the world. 6-time world champion. And there ain't nothing you can do about it. And they're still here. And I don't think they're done. This isn't an ending.
Pretty much it's the whole, I'll let the highlights play in the background in this game.
Oh, that was Edelman right there.
That was Edelman, Mr. Hall of Famer.
Oh, there's Brady.
My God.
Punt.
Yup. Johnny Hecker.
Ooh.
Yup.
Record-setting Johnny Hecker.
Yeah, that was of all the thank you. Of all the records set, that was what we're going to discuss today is not whether or not this was an entertaining Super Bowl, because it was not an entertaining Super Bowl. If you were a Patriots fan, maybe it was for you. What I would like to discuss is, was this a battle? Was this a boring Super Bowl in which the team I won't say we all thought we're going to win. A lot of people thought the Rams were going to win. But once again, the Patriots won. Was this a battle of 2 phenomenal defenses going at it and just over it? Was this defense wins championships? Or was this just simply, quite honestly, and I'm a fan of the guy, was this Sean Payton getting pantsed on national and worldwide TV by the greatest game planner perhaps in all of sports history, Bill Belichick?
I mean, Sean McVay, who I believe you said Sean Payton, I think you meant Sean McVay.
Thank you for catching me, because I always say Sean Payton, and it pisses
Well, he should have
me
been
off.
there.
Right. He would have done much better. But yes, Sean McVay getting pantsed by Bill Belichick.
Sean McVay admitted as much. He said straight up, I got out-coached today. And I think if you look at how he used Todd Gurley or didn't use Todd Gurley and admits, yeah, I just couldn't get him in the rhythm. Oh, no, he completely got out-coached. That was the quote-unquote grizzled old vet taking the young kid to the
cleaners.
Yeah.
He absolutely got taken to the cleaners. And we'll talk about the use or lack of Gurley. We'll talk about how boring that brilliant Rams offense was, and how much of it was Peyton, how much of it was Belichick just taking him out of the game. So, yeah, unfortunately, we're going to talk about the Super Bowl all day.
Yay. No good. That'll seal it, and the Kings get the rebound. Heel being chased. Runs it into the front court. Sacramento is going to defeat the Philadelphia 76ers. They're going to beat one of the premier teams of the Eastern Conference. Kings fans saluting them with a stick.
I want to try this again. Is there a button on there that lets me control that pot? I believe there is.
Yeah.
Huh. Usually I can control the pot. That's the volume level. I know that was a little drowned out there, and I can control this stuff. What you would have heard there, I know those levels were a little off. That was the G-Man on the call. The Kings beat the Sixers Saturday night. We have a lot of stuff to discuss here, Jay, and one of the things I want to discuss is where they are in relation to last year. That's a huge deal.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I think this isn't our question of the day, but a little the drive question of the day is, was this the win of the season? And I know everybody out there is instantly going, no, stupid, it was bogey shot against the Lakers. And emotionally, I agree. Emotionally, I completely understand, and I'm not going to argue if people want to say that. But the Lakers are currently not in the playoffs. The Sixers are a really good team, and this was an incredibly entertaining game. So if you take emotion out of it, was this the win of the year?
I think so. I hate to use the term must win.
Right.
I hate to use that term, but when you got a team coming off a second night of a back-to-back against Golden State, they're sitting two of their best shooters on a team that doesn't shoot the outside shot very well,
right,
with Redick and Chandler. You have to win that game if you really want to be taken seriously as a playoff contender.
I completely agree with you. Was that a back-to-back? I thought they played Thursday. They played, I think.
I thought it was a back-to-back.
Warrior, I want to say, you know what? It was, because it was a TNT doubleheader Thursday night. I'm almost positive. And that, because that was, what was it, Bucks and Raptors, the early game, Warriors, Sixers, the late game. No, wait. Yeah, because yesterday, when was,
they played the Sixers on Saturday night.
They played the Sixers. No, the Kings did. You were talking about the Sixers playing the Warriors. I could have sworn that was Thursday night, but I also could be on something as well.
You're probably right. I'm probably wrong.
Either way, it was a great win.
You were correct.
It was a great win. See, it was Thursday night, TNT. It was a great win. Yeah, they dodged a bullet without J.J. Redick, who tends to torch us. Bottom line is, they're off to a 2-0 start on this homestand. Atlanta was expected. This one was not necessarily expected. And Jerry Reynolds, the great Jerry Reynolds, is 2-0.
Jerry Magic.
He has brought that magic with him, and he is 2-0. This is a little 10-game stretch for him, filling in for the great Doug Christie. So I'll tell you this much, it's not going to happen. And I love Doug. The one thing I didn't like putting that stat on social media is I started seeing a lot of, bring back Jerry. That was not shade at Doug. That was fun for Jerry. But if they're 10-0 at the end of Jerry's stretch, it has nothing to do with Doug. You don't screw with the winning streak. You have to figure, I'm sorry, Jerry, you're going to have to, Jerry has to keep going until they don't win anymore.
Just do a three-man booth. It's not common these days for local teams to have three-man booths, but hey, you're right. If they're 10-0 with Jerry, sorry, buddy, you're not going back up there with Coase anytime soon.
Just until they lose.
Yes.
And if they don't lose the rest of the year, then hey, it's not really like work, is it?
No.
Come on. That means they win the title, they win the whole thing. They end up winning, what would that be, 32 in a row going into the playoffs? Deal with that.
Derek Carr back into the gun, backs out, steps up, fire, touchdown Raiders! Carrier!
Why are we playing a Raiders Derek Carr to Derek Carrier highlight?
When was that from?
I did it sometime a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. I pulled a highlight because we had to have something. The Oakland Raiders, according to several reports, are going to be playing at Pac Bell Park, AT&T Park, Oracle Park. They're going to play where the Giants play, the San Francisco Giants play. I'm confused. I'm very confused because you have the one team here and then the other team's over there, and it's weird.
So let me get this right.
Yeah.
The team that claims San Francisco is going to play in Santa Clara, and then the team that claims Oakland's going to play in San Francisco. I got that right?
Yeah, I think you have that nailed. And I don't know, man. I know as a Giants fan, my first reaction to this was, ew, gross.
Contamination.
Get out of here, dirty Raider fan, from my beautiful, sparkling park. But I also know that Raider fan feels the same way.
Right.
I feel for them too, because I'm going to push aside my classist, nose turned up ways. I'm going to push that aside because I know Raider fan is just as grossed out as I am.
As they should be.
They don't want this.
No, they thought sharing Santa Clara would be bad.
Yeah.
I feel like this is worse because you're in the city of San Francisco.
I don't want any part of this. These poor guys.
Can I ask you a question? What are the Raiders going to claim next year? You can't you can't play in Oakland and play in San Francisco.
Right.
The Santa Clara thing, that's one thing.
I'm glad you asked. They will be the Golden State Raiders.
I was going to tweet that last night.
They will be the Golden State Raiders next year.
so good.
We'll take a break. When we come back, the Patriots beat the Rams. Yay. We'll talk about that. And we'll start to dip our foot into some of these stats and conversations on the drive. Jay filling in for Kyle Madsen right here on Sports 1140 KHTK.
Good morning. I'm Jay Marshall with your top stories on Sports 1140 KHTK. The New England Patriots beat the Los Angeles Rams in Super Bowl 53 by a score of 13-3, the lowest score in Super Bowl history. Julian Edelman walked home with the MVP award, and it was the 6th Super Bowl win for Patriots head coach Bill Belichick and quarterback Tom Brady. Sacramento Kings are back home tonight to take on the San Antonio Spurs. Tip-off is at 7 with coverage beginning at 5:30 with Game Night right here on Sports 1140 KHTK.
What up, y'all? Yeah, soundtrack, what's poppin', baby? Woo! Y'all ain't know, I go by the name of Lupe Fiasco, representing that 1st and 15. Yeah, and this one
The sweet sounds of Jay Marshall.
right here.
If you don't recognize the rejoiner, there it is. Welcome in, buddy. Good to have you. Kyle Madsen is sleeping one off this morning up in Reno.
Load management.
Load management. I love how you said that this morning, too. It's so accurate. The Super Bowl needed some load management last night. That's the most boring Super Bowl of my lifetime.
Really?
Was there a more boring one?
See, here's how I look at it, okay? I look at blowouts to be more boring than a low-scoring, no ball movements, close game, because at least with this game, you're still watching because you don't know who's going to win. Like, for me, the Seahawks and Broncos from a few years back was worse.
Huge blowout.
That game was over in 5 minutes.
You know, I think we're also all prisoners of the moment and where we were, because at the party I was at, parties in quotes, you get to my age and you have kids and there's kids running around. It's like a bunch of families getting together with jalapeno poppers, and some good friends of ours were there. And like at the end of the game, people were mad at football. They were mad at the Super Bowl. They're like, what? I mean, there were literally people like, why did I invite? I should have gone. I should have gone to the casino. I should have done this. I should have done that. I'm not. The guy, my buddy who was hosting, was like, I'm done. I'm not hosting any more Super Bowl parties unless there's like a team I have a dog in the fight. This is just so dumb. People were depressed.
People were mad.
They were upset at this. Listen, I feel what you're saying about the blowout, and you can certainly make a case. And if I felt like there was great defense played yesterday, there was definitely some great defense, but I felt more like it was McVay getting pantsed. And the Rams, you cannot be the second best offense in the NFL and score 3 points.
How many? 3.
I mean,
and it's crazy. Like, you look at the sidelines, and you know that meme that's been going around all year of Eli Manning when he's getting up after being sacked?
Yeah.
That was McVay all game.
All game. You think 10 years from now, he'll be able to recall the play that they scored on in the Super Bowl?
No. No.
I think it'll be hard.
I couldn't. I'm having trouble remembering it right now.
I mean, it was so... I guess for me, at least in a blowout, there's touchdowns and there's things happening and fireworks, and, my dumbass sees the big bright lights. And this just felt like the Patriots were toying with the Rams, and I kept myself into it, Jay, by thinking, you know what, dude, it's just, it's 3-0. Okay, it's 3-3. Like, this is, and it seems like the Rams are completely out of it. Like, they're down 35-3, but they are a touchdown away from being world champions, and they just never did anything.
Well, I got really excited coming out of halftime because they finally inserted Todd Gurley into the offense. I'm like, all right, and he's moving the ball. I'm like, okay, we're gonna see some offense this second half. I mean, we saw some, but that's kind of where it ended.
I don't know what was the whole thing was like. I can't be mad at it, but it was so boring. It's kind of like the halftime show.
I was just going to say that. It's not often you have both a boring game and boring halftime show. It was just 3 hours of drag.
And I kind of I could probably lay out a generic analysis on the halftime show, and if you didn't know any better, I'd be talking about the Rams in the game. I don't blame Adam Levine and Maroon 5. They did what they do.
Yeah.
I've been I'll admit this publicly. I've been a Maroon 5. I was a Maroon 5 fan when they were freaking barely out of being Karis Flowers. When Songs About Jane came out, I loved that album. Probably because my ex-girlfriend, who was like a massive Maroon 5 fan, I told the story on Twitter yesterday. I went to 10 Tower Records in a day one time because she was close with their manager, and they were having trouble distributing. So we had boxes of Songs About Jane, the CD. Back in the day, kids, CDs were these little discs.
Compact discs.
Right. And we were delivering them to all the Tower Record chains in Northern California to try to boost this little tiny band. That's not I was there in the beginning. I give all the credit to my ex-girl. She was there in the beginning, this tiny little band. And now they're playing, he's taking off his shirt and it's Nipplegate all over again. But they did it's like when Coldplay, another band I'll happily say I'm a fan of, they did what they're supposed to do. They went out and they sang their songs and they sounded like the songs they sang, and he took his shirt off. That's what he was. It just isn't a Super Bowl halftime.
No, if you're looking for hype and you're looking for the performance value and you're looking for spectacle, not Maroon 5. No, you don't do that.
And Big Boy comes out in the
love that.
That was awesome. And they do the whole thing and that for 15 seconds. And then Travis Scott, I think 90% of the old heads watching were like, what is this thing with the SpongeBob? And then
I think they were saying, what's a Travis Scott?
Right. And he comes out and just blows through sicko mode. And I thought that was cool.
But how awkward was it to go from sicko mode to, was it She Will Be Loved? Is that the next song they went to?
You're right.
That was just weird.
It was almost as awkward as Adam Levine trying to dance alongside Big Boy. It was almost as awkward as when we all figured out that Adam Levine's shirt matched these pillows from Target that everybody had. And then it's a funny thing to talk about, but I did think it was kind of funny that Adam Levine was able to go shirtless, yet the entire world of radio and broadcast was changed forever when you got a flash of Janet Jackson's, little nipple there.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know.
Shows Adam Levine's privilege. Jeez.
Thank you very much. And I know that was that whole thing was geared towards, he's a heartthrob.
He's
talented. He's got awesome tattoos. I can't blame Adam Levine the same way I couldn't blame my 10-year-old son Mason for failing if he was entered in the dunk contest.
Right.
It's not what they're designed to do.
Well, that's why they brought Travis Scott and Big Boy in to begin with. But again, especially in Atlanta, you got to give Big Boy more than 17 seconds.
You could have had an Outkast reunion. You could imagine Ludacris coming out and doing a little bit of a set. Imagine the amount of Atlanta
Little John,
talent.
There's the perfect hype man for you.
Seriously.
He's all over the Pepsi commercials.
You could have made that entire halftime show nothing but Atlanta artists, and it would have been awesome. But also, you can't expect, you're not getting that Prince moment.
No.
You're not getting the Michael Jackson moment. So I don't know what would have been better.
You would have had to repeat something like Bruno again.
Sure. And I think it's a little too soon for, I'll tell you this, and I'm not really a huge fan of the genre. I know we got a break here.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't, you get lead-ins all year long with Faith Hill. The connection between the NFL and country music is there.
Right.
I can't even remember. Do you remember? Have we had a country halftime show? Has Garth Brooks done the Super Bowl?
Wow, you're asking me to. Sorry, I blew all over the mic there. Jeez. I can't recall one.
I can't either. And you can't tell me that Garth Brooks and Faith Hill and Tim McGraw, I mean, she does, are you ready for some football? I'm not a country guy, but I respect the fact that it's a huge medium. And mix it up a little bit. Why not have Tim McGraw do whatever, sing whatever, Indian Outlaw or Don't Take the Girl or whatever hit he had, and then Outkast comes in and mix it up a little bit. Have fun. People are dragging Maroon 5. I'm not going to drag Maroon 5. I thought Maroon 5 did the best possible Maroon 5 halftime show.
Right. No, I'm with you. I'm like you, though. I would have never booked them.
No.
But at the same time, to be fair to the NFL, they got to find a headlining name, and you're going through the list of like headline big-time artists who've never done it.
Who are safe.
They're probably at the top.
Patriots did beat the Rams. There was an actual game. We'll get into that also. We have an update on the Raiders, and an old friend of ours is an all-star, so to speak. We'll be back in a couple. Sports 1140 KHTK. Welcome back to the drive. Let's see. Captain Ding Dong Pants, whoever it is, on the text line at 441140. There's no update on the Raiders.
Oh, boy.
Stop trolling and getting scammed by accounts online. There's no news to report. Who are you? Who I don't know.
You know, they like to come on and inform the informers.
Right.
I don't appreciate that.
Thank you. Now, if what Ding Dong Pants is saying on the text line is that nothing is officially official, okay, fine. But several news outlets that are not Fred Smith in his garage, talking about Raj Mathai with NBC Bay Area, the NBC account itself, Bleacher Report, Sports Illustrated, all reporting that a deal is imminent, that the Raiders will play their 2019 season at Oracle. I can't call it that. At Pac Bell Park, AT&T Park, whatever, where the Giants play.
Right.
Don't report. It's not, you're getting scammed. It's not like some guy is saying this.
It's not a fake Woj account tweeting this.
Thank you. You're getting scammed by online reports, guys. No. So that's going to be weird. Like you said, Jay, filling in for Kyle Madsen today, who's sleeping off in Reno due to the snow. Yeah, the 49ers are playing in Santa Clara. The San Francisco 49ers are playing in Santa Clara. The Oakland Raiders are playing in San Francisco. I mean, Golden State Warriors. And by the way, when the Golden State Warriors move to Chase Center or whatever it's going to be called in San Francisco, are they still going to be the Golden State Warriors? I imagine so.
Can I tell you this? I think the Golden State moniker is the stupidest thing in the world.
I completely agree with you.
Not to take it off the rails real quick, but when I was like 8 or 9,
yeah,
and there's a map of California in the classroom I was in, I was looking for Golden State, the city of Golden State, and was so mad I couldn't find it. And then I had to be told that, no, that's not an actual city. And I'm like, well, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
It is. It really kind of is. Like, I get it. If you're playing in it, I'm trying to think of what would be. Like, for example, if the Green Bay Packers were known as the Wisconsin Packers, I could handle that because they're kind of like the state's team.
Right.
But California has so many basketball teams. You've got the Kings, you got the Warriors, you have the Clippers, you have the Lakers. They're not the California Warriors.
No, the Angels tried that years ago with the California Angels, and that was a bust.
So dumb. They're the Oakland Warriors,
yes.
Soon to be San Francisco Warriors. Would you feel better if they were called the Bay Area Warriors?
Bay Area Warriors is fine. It's Golden State. It's not just because, like you said, you're claiming the state, but now you're using the nickname. Like,
yeah.
What are some other like state nicknames? And try to put that on a team.
Yeah, I don't. It's not college. That doesn't work like that. It's not the Golden State University Warriors,
right? Which
is what it sounds like.
What's Florida? Is that the Sunshine State?
Florida is the Sunshine State.
So could you imagine if you had like the Sunshine State Magic?
Yeah, right. No, exactly. And to your point, they have the Florida Panthers.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have the Sunshine State Panthers.
Right.
You don't have the what would it be? Is there you don't have the Show Me State Cardinals from Missouri.
Oh wow. I wish we did though. Now that you said that one. That'd be pretty cool.
Although somebody brings up, and I got it, they bring up the New England Patriots, but again, that represents a region that doesn't have a football team, an NFL team. You have New York down there. You have the Eagles down there. But that's not New England. You're talking about a region that is not just Boston and Massachusetts proper. It's Vermont. It's New Hampshire. It's Rhode Island. That is a region. The New England moniker is appropriate, in my opinion, in that case.
Well, all those states claim that team. Because it's a quick drive from like Vermont to Foxborough. That's not a bad drive.
And I won't hate on that because I'm a Giants fan and I'm a Niner fan. Why? Because my city of Sacramento does not have a football or baseball team, a professional football or baseball team. If Sacramento had a professional football or baseball team, that's who I would back. But as a little kid, I had to back the closest thing to me. You were either an A's or Giants fan, a Raider or Niner fan. That's how it worked. It's a different thing.
You're gonna hate this. My dad's from SoCal, so I'm a Dodgers fan.
You know what, dude? Trust me when I say I have to deal with Kyle, who's a Warrior fan, and in both cases, if you are a from birth passed down through generations, like Kyle grew up in the Bay Area, so he's been a Warrior fan long before they were good. You being a Dodger fan, you're a Dodger fan since you're a kid.
It's generational.
I can't. It's actually worse with Kyle because his team's winning championships. At least I can go, Dodgers.
Have you at least put him through a Warriors test, though, to see just how strong it is?
One of the first things I did. It's one of the first things I did.
Pass with flying colors?
Absolutely. Who's Sleepy Floyd? What happened with Monte Ellis? Let's go back to Jason Richards. Yeah, he also has some throwback jerseys of some guys that are not exactly throwbackable. Where do I want to go here? Old friend. Want to shout? Yeah, we have so much to get to today, and it's kind of like I'm holding back on some things. I really want to get into the Super Bowl proper and what we thought of that, and McVay and Belichick. I want to get into this Julian Edelman conversation so we can stop it. And I also at 8:05 we'll get into the Kings, both the win over the Sixers. And the Spurs game tonight, also where they are historically compared to last year, which is a big deal. We'll do that at 7:05 as well. Speaking of the Kings, though, I want to shout out an old friend, Michael Malone, who will be coaching the Western Conference All-Stars this year. It's awesome, man. It is so cool and slightly heartbreaking as a Kings fan.
I was just going to say, I'm torn.
The thing that's helping me is that I feel like Dave Yeager is our next Michael Malone. That I love the coach we have. At the same time, part of me wishes I could snap my fingers and not have what would have happened if Coach Malone had not been stupidly dismissed. It is one of the many missteps the Kings have made over the years. In fact, you could probably put it top 3, if not top 2, over the last decade.
I was going to say, is this the biggest misstep of this management?
Well, technically, it was Pete D'Alessandro. That was...
let me clarify. Of the Vex ownership reign.
No, that would be not drafting Luka Doncic.
You want to go there?
No.
You want to go there?
No, I'm joking.
The text lines are blowing up now.
Everyone, I am joking, and that was just for fun. Everyone relax. We all know that was number 2. Here's the deal. It might have been. Now, the argument there is, look at where we are right now. And it all works out. But I'm not a big fan of just because you recover from a big mistake doesn't mean it wasn't a big mistake.
The mistake's still there.
The mistake's still there. And guess what? Michael Malone got left alone to run his team. And, oh, my goodness, Denver, and we made this argument earlier, you could argue that Denver has the brightest future of any team in the NBA right now when you look at who they have right now, salary cap, age, etc. Either way, he'll be coaching the Western Conference All-Stars. We love Michael Malone. Props to him, and congratulations. We'll take a break. Let's get into the Kings a little bit next. They beat the Sixers. We have some highlights for you, the Peckus brothers moment of the game, and we'll look ahead a little bit to the Kings versus Spurs tonight, right here on The Drive, Sports 1140 KHTK.